But I'm not saying that they're equal systems. You're assuming that because I say that they don't all have some monopoly on morality, or monopoly on truth, that they're all equal. I don't say that.
I'm saying you have no position to say what is true and what is false. You have you're in a position to say, for me, this is true. But I understand you have a different definition of truth. I'm not right, you're not wrong. You're not right, I'm not wrong. It just is.
Because there's no right and wrong answer to moral questions.
That's right.
There are moral and immoral answers to moral questions.
No, there aren't. There's your definition of moral and immoral
Precisely.
answers, but I might have a different definition of moral and immoral. And I'm not right, and you're not wrong, and you're not right, and I'm not wrong. It's all relative in your worldview.
You're limiting it to a 0 or 1. This isn't a binary question. So you're saying, oh, well, surely you think that all these systems are equal, and I don't, but if you're saying, oh, well, how can you just, arbitrarily say your system is the best because every single person does that, especially with religion. You're saying Christianity is the best. I mean, anyone can say that about their religion. You're only Christian because you were brought up here.
Excuse me? You want to say, rewind that one. Rewind that one by me one more time, that last sentence.
That you're only...
Come on, give it to me, bud.
That you're only Christian because you were here, born here, or in
How on earth do you know that? How on earth do you know that the only reason I'm a Christian is because I was born in the United States?
It's not an attack on your belief.
How do you know what you just said?
It's an assumption.
It is so judgmental, it's scary. I would never treat you that way. That is so disrespectful to do what you just did. You don't have the faintest idea why I'm a follower of Christ.
But isn't it a statistical problem? I mean, forgive me. If that's not true, I apologize.
You better apologize. That's off the wall rude. I don't have the faintest idea why you believe what you believe. And for me to assume that you believe whatever it is you believe, because you were born in the home you were born in, is so judgmental. It's incredible. You don't know that. Okay. And I don't know that. I don't know why you believe what you believe.
Were you brought up Christian?
Was I brought up Christian?
That is pretty pertinent to your belief.
The environment I grew up in was Fairfield County, Connecticut. Go check out the environment.
Okay, but...
I'll tell you what, you want to know what God is in Fairfield County, Connecticut? Money. My buddies go to Wall Street, okay? I can promise you, Jesus is not Lord in Fairfield County. The American dollar is. That's the environment I grew up in.
So, were you raised Christian?
My mom and dad were followers of Christ, yes.
Okay, then my point stands.
No, your point does not stand.
How not?
I just answered the question. You did not know what my mom and dad believed, and it's highly insulting for you to tell me that I'm a Christian because mom and dad are Christians. Highly insulting.
I was assuming because it's such a high statistical probability in the United States that you were brought up by two Christian parents. It's such a pervasive part of our
what's your
culture.
point?
That if you were raised in another time, in another place, you probably would not be Christian with the same beliefs.
You don't know that.
Well,
you don't have the faintest idea. That is total conjecture on your part.
What about 1,000 years prior to Jesus' birth? You wouldn't believe in
Well, obviously, you'd never heard about Jesus.
Precisely. So
he didn't exist? Really?
What if you're, okay, and as you say, if you were in a culture that was never exposed to the story of Jesus, that you wouldn't necessarily go to hell because you just aren't aware.
That's right.
But within that culture, you could believe something as genuinely as you do now with regard to another religion.
Of course.
And with equally
anything's possible.
Non-existent evidence.
Anything's possible.
Okay, so...
Yeah, okay. So what? What's your point?
I'm saying, what are the odds that you happen to be born into a culture which facilitated and raised you and to believe something that is objectively true when so many on the planet do not believe the same thing, and when your belief system is so specific?
You see, I would never treat you the way you're treating me. I would never say, you know something, the reason that you're saying this stuff is because statistically you grew up in a certain part of the world that taught this, so therefore you've bought into it. Baloney. You've got your own mind. You can think through things. You can accept what your culture teaches, or you can reject it. Guess what? So can I. Right?
Yes.
It's highly disrespectful for me to say, oh, you're an atheist because you grew up in an atheist home. No.
That would be a fair, if you want to raise that point, you can, but I wasn't.
I would never say that to you, sir. And I would never
wouldn't
say
take
to
it
a
personally.
person, a thinking human being, and the reason you're a Muslim is because you grew up in a Muslim home.
That's probably
That is
why.
so disrespectful. No, a Muslim has his own mind.
Yes. And
She
they
has
can
her own
change it.
mind. She can make up her mind whether she wants to be a Muslim or not. She doesn't have to be Muslim because she grew up in a
Well,
Muslim
she'll be
home.
killed if she's not.
Pardon?
They'll be killed. I mean, apostates are killed, so that's a good reason to not leave the faith. But my point stands. I mean, you're a product of your environment, and you believe certain things because so many around you do, and because the culture.
Okay, are you
brings
speaking
up.
about yourself?
Yes, that too. I mean, but
Really? So you
well,
honestly believe that you believe what you believe because the culture taught you to, and you just
well,
followed
no,
your culture?
I mean, the United States is not exactly open to atheism, so.
Oh, I see. So you are an open-minded thinker, but I'm a narrow-minded bigot who just bought into my
I
culture.
never said that. I didn't
Well,
say
what are
that
you
were-
saying?
I didn't say that you're a bigot.
What are you saying, buddy? I mean, it's so clear what you're saying to me, but go ahead, you clarify. What are you telling me? Why do you believe what you believe, and why do I believe what I believe?
Well, I don't believe.
Oh, yes, you do believe. You very clearly have a worldview. You believe something, sir, and so do I. Now, why do you believe what you believe, and why do I believe what I believe? That's the path you're going down. Keep going. I'd like to hear this.
Well, as someone brought up earlier, aside from being the product of our environment, we're also the product of our parents. A good deal of our personality is passed down through there, and the way that we
Yeah.
reason is also passed down genetically.
Yeah? So is that why you believe what you believe? Because of your environment and your genetics?
Yes.
No other reason?
Well, I mean, the other thing is reasoning through things and evaluating evidence.
Yeah, would you think that might be a little important? Reasoning through things and
But I'm
coming to
saying-
your own
I'm saying
decision?
Yes.
Do you think there might be a few people here on this campus who were raised in a Christian home and who are today agnostic or atheist? Do you
Yes.
think that might happen?
I know many.
Good. So
And
you know
many
very,
could be
very well
Christian,
that a
born
Christian is not
atheists.
necessarily a Christian just because they were born into Christian
Exactly.
parents.
You
Right?
could be
And an
Christian
atheist is not
from
just
the-
an atheist because they were born in an atheist home.
Yes.
We have our own minds,
I'm
we can
saying
think
it's
through
more
issues,
likely.
and we can come to conclusions.
I'm saying it's much, much more likely
Why does
that you
that
will be
matter?
Christian when you're
Literally.
brought
Why
up
does
in that kind of
matter?
home. And I mean, it's odd to feel that by great fortune you happen to be raised in the right one without some major alteration to your personal views.
Well, isn't it wonderful that you're so fortunate that you have reached the right conclusion while I've reached the wrong conclusion?
Well, I'm not making claims about God, so.
No, you're making other claims. And please don't act like you're not making claims.
I am.
Thank you. You sure are.
Particularly with regard
And
to
you're
Marx.
claiming that your claims are true, which means my claims are false. I have no problem with that. But I do have real problems with you liking to appear like you're totally open-minded and tolerant,
I'm
whereas
not.
me, I'm some narrow-minded bigot who just bought into my culture or my mommy and daddy. I think that's very unfair and very intellectually dishonest.
But I think you're taking this a little too personally.
No, I think you've dug a hole and you've chosen to keep on digging.
Maybe you shouldn't attack people.
And I'm scared. You're the one who went on the attack, okay? And I'm trying to show you that you went on the attack, and not only did you go on the attack, but your thinking is really unfair. It's not objective. It's really prejudiced. And I don't appreciate that kind of prejudice.
Okay, but can we agree that it is great chance that you happen to be in the United States and not someone growing up in a region of China, for instance, separated from the knowledge of Christ?
Why does that matter?
There's more Christians in China than the United States.
Sir, there are going to be more followers of Christ in China than in any other nation in the world in the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
It's because of conversion, sir.
Yes.
All right?
They're exposed to that knowledge.
Mao Zedong did one whale of a job suppressing the organized church. The underground church exploded. Not because the culture said, hey guys, let's all believe in Jesus. No, the culture said, you believe in Jesus, you better watch out, we're coming after you to kill you. And millions upon millions of Chinese people said, I am sorry. The evidence is Jesus Christ is Lord, and they put their faith in him. Not because mommy and daddy told them to, not because the government told them to, and not because the culture told them to. The culture and mommy and daddy and the government told them the opposite.
Not everyone in their society is saying the opposite.
Why does it matter?
During the rule of Mao Zedong in China,
I said
the
not
government,
everybody.
the culture, and mommy and daddy did not encourage people to put their faith in Jesus. Chinese people converted by the millions to faith in Christ because they were choosing to respond to the evidence that Jesus was the truth And the Holy Spirit was working and drawing them to Christ. It's an historical fact. Don't take it from me, go check on it yourself.
No, I agree with you. My point was, the majority of people stay in their religions because, not necessarily it's convenient, but because they're brought up with such an abundance of information about them. And
Okay, great, fine. Read the Gospels for yourself, just like the Chinese do. And look at Jesus Christ for yourself. And ask yourself, does the evidence point to Jesus being the truth or not?